Good evening, Second Baptist, and welcome to Family Check-In, and we're grateful that you're tuning in. Please, we got some very wonderful guests that's going to be with us tonight. It's going to be another very informative session tonight as we share and get ready for our kids going virtual, as well as how to deal with them, the mental issues that our children may be going through, and parents, during this unprecedented times of doing school in this new season. And so we thank you so much for tuning in. And before we get started, before my wife says hello, let me thank you so much, all of you, for your support. We had a wonderful service today at Surf Stadium.
Yes.
So many people came out, and it was so awesome to be able to see so many of our members and see their faces and hear their voices and give everybody a big virtual hug. It was just a tremendous worship experience. And I want to thank each and every one of you who came. Also, we're thankful to the praise team, did an awesome job. And but I also have to thank those people who are behind the scenes, our sound guys who really did a Herculean task to make everybody sound good. I don't know about me, but the music, the musicians, we're grateful. And those guys come 6 o'clock in the morning, get prepared for us, and they're the first ones to arrive and the last ones to leave. And so we want to say a real big shout out to Cy, Nelson, and to Dr. Chapman for a job well done.
Yes.
Hey, say hello, baby.
Hello, everyone. Just want to say greetings and thank you for allowing us to come into your homes. Again, I do like to give a shout out to everyone who came to the service today, and those of you who looked at it, preferably you were blessed. I think the word was just right in time and appropriate for us at this time, that God has a plan, and that we can be happy even in the midst of a pandemic. And it's all about our faith and all about us trusting God in this circumstance. And so we give God the glory and the honor. Also want to take the time to give a shout out to Brother Maurice Miller in California, who celebrated a birthday on Thursday. Hallelujah. We are mindful of him as well. And then we want to say happy birthday to Bria today. Today is my niece's birthday, so I want to give her a shout out as well. So we just again want to thank you for allowing us to come in. Thank God for the Word of God, and hopefully the session that we have today will be a blessing and meaningful to everyone who's watching.
I'm glad you said Brielle. I thought you were saying Bria. I said, I know Bria was born in August. I don't know what her birthday is, but I know it was in August.
It's my niece.
Good. So today, all of you today, we're so thankful, and we've got today Miss Diane Saunders, who's administrator for Atlantic City High School. She's with us today, and because we had some questions last week. And we thank all the administrators for coming on last week. That some questions they couldn't answer, and so we got the expert to come, Ms. Saunders, to come and share with us. Ms. Saunders is also a trustee at Second, if you don't know that. And we also have another expert with us tonight. We've got Tanoa Bettis, and Tanoa is she's a counselor, and she works with CHOP, and she also has her own business as well, and so she's gonna help us with our mental health issues, and a lot of us have some mental health issues that we need to be dealing with, especially during this pandemic, and with our kids, the stress that they're doing. So welcome, Ms. Saunders, and welcome to Noah to our program today. So just say hello to Second, and we'll get started.
Hello, everyone. Hi, church members. It's good being on. I miss everyone. And Reverend Days, just want to correct you. I'm Atlantic City School District Administrator, not the high school.
You say Atlantic City High School.
High school.
I said, I didn't say school district. I know you work for the school district. So tell us what you do for the school district.
I am Director of Human Resources.
Okay.
Awesome.
District. Okay. I've been with the Lang City School District from the time I got out of college. That's been 48 years.
No, I was
Wow.
going to say that was so recent. We're not even going to talk about it, right?
48 years.
Wow, that is
I remember
tremendous.
Tech Baptist all my life. So as you can see, once I'm in a membership, I stay there. I was a principal for 20 years, a teacher for 17, moved on to be a supervisor. Now I'm Director of Human Resources.
Wow.
Working with Barry Caldwell, who's the superintendent of schools, and he's doing an excellent job along with
Wonderful.
the members.
Wonderful.
Very good.
Nice.
And Tanoa, tell us who you are. Tanoa is also a member of Second. And so, Tanoa, tell us who you are.
I actually am not a member of Second Face-to-Face.
I'm prophesying. I'm prophesying.
Oh, okay. So, well, I actually have a church. I'm a member of New Mount Calvary out Mays Landing, so I just want to shoot them, a shout out. But I've been to Second many a times, and I always had a great time. I missed the women's retreat. I was saying it the other day. I missed those women retreats that we used to go on. I missed them, and hopefully we can do that again soon. I am a licensed clinical social worker right here from South Jersey, Atlantic County. I have been in the field of social work for about 13 years. I started out as a behavior assistant working with children with emotional, mental, behavior health challenges. I went on to continue my education. I became a therapist. I went into private practice about 4 years ago, and I also work at a partial hospital program, so I'm very familiar with the community and the children in the schools that we serve. So I just kind of try to be a vessel to help out and share some information that I can, whatever I can with people. So I pride myself in that. Besides all the accolades, I really pride myself in helping people, because I also I'm a single mom of 3 children. They're adults now, but I couldn't imagine trying to navigate parenting and working and household responsibilities during a time such as this. So thank you for having me.
Good. Well, we're looking forward to you guys sharing today. Ms. Saunders, we know that the last time we spoke, and there was a lot of questions and concerns, they were planning, our administrator who came on talked about doing a hybrid schedule. And we know since that time, in that short period of time, things have changed, and now they're looking at going to a all virtual school.
Yes, that's correct. I passed it. The Board of Education just passed that resolution. The students will be at home, whereas right now, which could change tomorrow, the teachers must come to work, and they will virtually teach the students from the classroom.
Okay. Now
Some people, go ahead.
with that, we know that our teachers will be at the school, correct, and our students are home. What has the school done in preparation to make sure that all the kids have internet access as well as Chromebooks for the students?
To the best of my knowledge, it's 90 to 100% of our students are well prepared, and they do have the Chromebooks and the necessary electronic devices that they need. I'd like to send out kudos to Michael Berg, who's Director of Assessment and Special Projects, and we started some years ago providing electronic devices to our staff and to our students. So we were pretty prepared when this pandemic started.
Excellent. So all the students, and so what about the internet access? Does the school provide hotspots for those that may not have internet at home?
They are working on that. I don't know where they are, but they are diligently working to ensure that all our students have access to it.
Okay. Now, the virtual, is it just for one grade period, or is it looking at for the whole school year?
Right now, like anything else, they're looking at the first marking period, and hoping everything is in order to bring them back in the end of October, hopefully. If not, decision will be made by the superintendent or the Board of Education and Board of Education if we are ready to come back at the end of the first marking period.
Yeah. I think the state of Delaware is doing. They're phasing in as well. The first marking period is virtual, and then they go to a hybrid schedule, and then they're hoping by the time they get a handle on COVID that they can go to full school. Is school district looking at doing something very similar to that?
Well, as the administrators had said last week, Atlantic City has already set up their schedule to go hybrid, and once we're given the go, then we'll move forward with the schedule we already have prepared, where there'll be an A-B schedule, and I think the administrators explained this time that they were on, as far as if you're in the fourth grade and you're a fourth grade teacher and you have 25 kids, one group will come on A day, maybe the A group, and the other group will come on the B day. So the A day will be Monday and Wednesday, and the B group will be Tuesday and Thursday, and then that Friday it'll be virtual instruction.
And I know
Well, no virtual instruction on. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think one of the great challenges, not only to the school district, is that everything is in flux. So and I think we've just saw that in the last week, where everybody was gearing up for a hybrid schedule. Now all of a sudden they got to gear up for virtual, and so just as everyone else is making that adjustment, one of the big areas that people have to make adjustments is parenting. In terms of as parents were just preparing to deal with their kids at least going to school 2 days and then home 3 days. Now they got to deal with them being home all day for every day, which is going to be a challenge for many parents, but it also be a challenge for school teachers and administrators who have school-aged children at home, and especially those who have the elementary schools, the younger kids, in terms of dealing with that and making sure that they have proper care for their kids while they're in school. And so, Tanoa, I'm going to bring you in because we dealt with the kids not being in school in March, and kids not graduating, not seeing their friends, their routine all upended, and now they were looking forward to going back to school. And not only the kids were looking forward to going back to school, but parents were looking forward to the kids going back to school. To have the kids home in March and all summer long, and it's always a kind of a sigh of relief, kinda, when the kids are going back to school.
It's a sigh of relief.
And now, excuse me, and now they are told that they're going to be going back to when? No, I gotta. That's not a cough, people. That's a frog in my throat. So don't go get your mask. That's a frog.
Now we're all coughing.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yes.
And so, what are parents to do, and how do they to help their kids, their children navigate during this time with so many things in flux, and they're and dealing with this new normal?
So I just want to go back. You said, when we talked about when everything we took this huge shift in March. I mean, I was working at home. My son's in college. He had to stay home. It was just everybody was going through a mighty shift at that time. I just want to say that just as kind of to validate everybody is that any type of transition is difficult. And now, parents, like you said, will call us to shift work schedules. Many parents lost their jobs or lost their source of income because of places that had to shut down and close. And the one thing I want to emphasize about the districts is that a lot of the districts are very diverse, and everyone doesn't have the ability or the ability to access resources the same. And I think that that's when you start looking at the social, emotional piece of this and the mental health piece of this. As a parent, dread the thought of a parent that has to work and doesn't have childcare or can't afford childcare or has been denied a childcare subsidy. I also think that the other side of that is the child, not being properly supervised to get the lessons the way they're being taught and to fully engage in the process. So the child is then their education is being diminished. So there's a lot of different factors that play here, but I think that a starting point is community and structure. Reaching out, and maybe the community that does have, the resources within the community being utilized as such to provide support to parents, even something as small as, getting a whiteboard in the house and making a schedule or, just getting some form of structure, because that's going to be the piece that's important here, is that parents and families feel structured and organized, and then they feel the support of the districts as well, because there are going to be some truancy problems. Kids are not going to want to get up. Kids are not used to learning in this way, so there is going to be some issues that are going to, and they're not going to be able to be overlooked because they are going to cause some social, emotional, mental transitions. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see from a clinical perspective.
Okay, I got a couple of questions I want to get to because there seem to be a lot of them. One is one's about the Chromebooks. It says Shirley Ward asked, my child was on Class Dojo last year, and now she needs to get her Chromebooks. But then I think someone answered that question, that she was asking how does she go about getting her Chromebooks. But then Shelley Williams said that Chromebooks will be distributed this week, K through 3rd, all new students. So that answers that. So we agree for that.
Because the principals know more about that and than in my department. But if she didn't have one, I was going to take her name and make sure that would take place.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, only because I've been kind of listening, that one of the things that Atlantic City did is that when they gave out the Chromebooks, the kids kept their Chromebooks. So only the younger kids need them now. And from my understanding, just like Ms. Shelley said, they're going to be giving them out this week.
Okay. Kenyatta class asks, my concern is the working parents being able to stay on top of children making their assignments. Will they be allowed to do the work anytime during the day or specific time, because they may not be able to help them at the moment when they get back, and they may not be able to help them until they get off work?
You got to cut off a little bit, Reverend. Can you repeat that question?
Kenyatta Glass is asking, when the kids are given their assignments, can they finish their assignments different times of the day when they can get maybe some support from their parents when they get off of work?
I can't give you exact answer, but I would think so. Being a former teacher, I would think that once we give the instructions and we give them independent work to do, and we give self-instruction with each student, that they could then take that home and work independently. If they need assistance, then they could get assistance from their parents or anyone else that could help them.
Lisa Rex asked this question. I think it's a really good question because we know that so many of our children in Atlantic City, all of our children are not able to get a decent meal during the summer, but during the school, we know that they can at least get breakfast and lunch. What's being done to make sure that all the kids during this pandemic, and when they're home, that they might get at least get a meal?
There'll be scheduled days in which the students can pick up their breakfast, lunch at particular locations. Again, the principals were more focused on that than I was. Maybe Shelley Williams will again come in, but they will be fed every day. Okay. And they will be given several meals per day. So if you like, for instance, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they might get the meal on Monday. Mm-hmm. And then on Thursday, I'll get Thursday, Friday. I don't know about Saturday though.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's good news to hear. Go ahead, yes.
So I have a question real quick for both of you, but Ms. Saunders, let me ask you yours first. So, in that, the teachers will be in school. Um, and, there's concern about proper PPE. Um, what have you all done to make sure that the teachers who are returning back to school will be safe? And the reason why I'm asking is because this past summer, I don't know whether you're aware of it, but there was some teachers in Arizona who had come together, even though the students were not in school. It was just the teachers coming together to instruct students, and they were in a class together, 3 teachers, and all 3 ended up coming down with COVID-19, and so my question is, what is the district doing to make sure that the teachers who are going in to teach the students virtually, what is being done to make sure that they are safe?
Now, once they come in these days, as you know, it would be 3 teachers, or one probably would be an aide in that classroom. The district is going by the CDC guidelines as providing those teachers and aides with the equipment that they need. But more importantly is ensuring and reminding teachers to keep their masks on and keep a distance between each other so that there's more than enough room that they can stay 6 feet apart.
Okay, so in the event, I understand what you're saying. So in the event there is a teacher who ends up, and then Mr. Noah, I'm going to come to you, getting COVID-19, will he or she go out on workman's comp? Or will he or she have to use their sick days?
They will not go out on...
No, I have an eye. Oh, no, not reading.
You want me to answer that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They will not go out on workers' comp. Okay? Under the CDC guidelines, as well as the Federal Labor Department. They fall underneath what is called the Family First Coronavirus Response Act. And I don't know if you're familiar with that. The initials are FSCRA. And with that, what happens is, if they qualify, then they would have paid sick leave for 2 weeks. Then after the 2 weeks, they would then go on extended family medical leave if they qualified. But they must qualify. Now, I just want to add this in, and every year I do district seminars on qualification for the family medical leave. And then from there, they're able to use their accrued sick leave days. But some people may not qualify for that, but I won't go into that now.
So if they do not qualify, then they will have to use their sick leave even though they got sick on the job?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So let me.
So they can use their family medical leave. Okay. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go on our district website. It says employee rights. Scroll down to employee rights. It will give the information about the employee rights. And then if you look at the left side, they'll give you more information as far as what the Labor Department is asserting.
I think one of the other questions is, if a teacher has pre-existing conditions, can they teach from home instead of going to the school and teach?
Always remember, the district looks at each situation individually. But for the most part, there are only certain specified reasons, and it has to be related specifically to COVID-19. And again, it would have to be allowed by the district. But just let's say you have underlying conditions where a lot of our employees have that condition. For that matter, including myself. Now, what can happen is You can see if you qualify for the accrued sick leave you can use. Your sick leaves, you have the option of using FMLA, which is a family medical leave of absence, or you could apply for the 504 plan. Are you aware of the 504 plan, Ms. Days? You are, but let me let the church members know. The 504 plan is for people who want to see if their disability can be assessed, that they have accommodation. And for something real simple, not simple, but say for example, if you're a person who, because of your disability, you are not able to go up and down stairs, then the 504 committee would then assess that, and they would then maybe set up so that you could use the elevator to go up and down the stairs. So you have, again, your sick leave, your family medical leave of absence, or the 504 plan to see if you qualify.
Well, one of the question is in terms of how do you ensure that the kids are not in the streets and at home doing their work? Is there a way? I guess there's a way to monitor them through the Chromebooks.
I really can't give you an answer to that, but we are hoping that the parents will work with us as they always done to ensure that the students are doing what they're supposed to do.
So, Sister Bettis?
Yes, I'm here.
So as we talk about kids and COVID-19, that has been quite stressful for some kids, not for all. And the conversation piece has been that, they want the kids to come together so that they can the piece is that they're missing the interaction with their friends.
Right.
We do understand that, you don't have to have 5 friends to mingle, maybe just one. Can you give the parents some suggestions as to what they can do to make sure that their child has some form of social interaction with a peer or someone that they feel comfortable with?
Yes, I actually have been answering this question a lot, Sister Days, and it is a good question, and it's something that I have been thinking about in my mind. But luckily, there are other great minds out there like ours that have come up with apps. There's different resources. I actually just received a whole list of resources the other day. I'll email it to Mandy so that you have it. I think that even setting up a virtual play date, I think that's a good idea so that they can have that social interaction. Like the thing that I was emphasizing the most is that a lot of most kids learn through what we call social learning theory. So if a kid has a habit of doing something, and there could be another kid that could do something different that would teach that kid that that's not the appropriate social behavior. So there is going to be a huge deficit in social emotional learning, but it's also going to affect the kids in ways where, if they get so settled with being home and being behind these screens and just being within their nuclear setting, then some kids have developed anxiety. Some kids' anxiety has heightened. Some kids with attention deficit, it has worsened. I know that the parent-child relationship has struggled immensely during this time because now, and even myself as a parent, when I was younger, as a parent, now you're saying I need to be a parent 24 hours a day, where we used to get those little reprieves where the school would take over and the school would help, and now you're parenting all day, and that causes great stressors on not only on the parent but also on the child, because the parents, and I'm a parent, we inadvertently project that stress to our children. And I think that, so now you have a kid that can't go outside and play, can't go to school and play recess, can't go to school and have circle time, and now they're dealing with their parental stress or caregiver stress and their own internal stressors. And I think that that's something that really needs to be highlighted, is that children also experience stress and stressful situations. And it also affects not only their mental health and their emotional health, but it affects their physical health. And I think that The studies are going to be done to show that this COVID-19 crisis and this school situations and these, eliminating, sport teams and eliminating time, child's time for play is going to have detrimental effects on our society.
I see Brother James Knox just made mention that as related to the question about accountability for the kids, that there'll be greater accountability this time than for the children being where they are doing what they're supposed to do than they did when they went out in March. Which begs the question, though, since we've had March to June to deal with, and really a little case study in terms of how our kids did by studying virtually. So we had March, April, May, June, almost 3 months. How did our kids fare with their work and their academic achievement during those first 3 months? And what's going to be done differently in the next marking period? And what lessons have we learned from that? And that's questions for both of you.
Oh,
Well,
Sanders? Okay.
yes. As I reflect back on being a principal and also a teacher, I feel this is just one woman's opinion. The teachers were also doing it virtually. When the teachers go back into the classroom and they have their resources right there, they have their whiteboards and all the other resources they need to use, that the level of instruction, I feel, will increase and be more engaging for the students now that the teachers will be in the classroom. Whereas before, by the teachers being at home, they were also at a disadvantage. Even though some would say that the teachers also should not return to school, neither. But if they do, then this would help the students, would impact the students a little bit better. I'm not here to advocate teachers coming back to school, but where we are right now, if they do come back to school, then I think it'd be advantageous for the students as far as increasing their engagement for learning virtually.
Okay.
I just want to add that my heart really sits with the children that receive special education services.
That's what my next question
As a parent of a child who was classified at the age of 6 years old with specific learning disabilities, ADHD, ODD, speech challenges, social challenges, I cringe when I think of what my experience and his experience would be like at this time. And I think that, some children need that one-to-one, and not only to grasp the lesson, but that support that a lot of teachers give just willingly. I know that my son wouldn't have been successful in school if it had not been for some one-to-one interactions with his teachers. And I want everybody to be safe. So the thing is, I'm coming from a perspective of how do we continue to engage kids with the teachers, because sometimes the only hug, the only "you did great," the only positive praise, the only positive affirmation that some kids get, they get it from school. And
Go ahead.
Go ahead, boy.
Losing that, or that being interrupted, really places some serious challenges for some children and teachers.
Yes, it's this whole era or stage that we're in now. There's pluses and minuses to it. The Langston School District is setting up after-school tutorial programs and trying to find other methods to improve the engagement of students with their teachers.
I was wondering if, since you had the first 3 months of March to June, did anyone make any assessments in terms of what worked, what didn't work, and what needed to be changed or improved this go around?
Well, the district put out a survey for parents to get their input. The superintendent and the planning committee has reviewed it, and they still review it to see what will work in the best interest of the students. But also remember, the guidelines are constantly changing at the state level. And as we prepared ourselves to deal with the hybrid schedule, that changed. So we're constantly dealing with changes. So we're looking at the survey that parents have sent in, but just as quickly as we're looking at the survey and trying to come up with strategies and ideas, at the state level, they're changing.
Okay. Let me get Kenyatta's last questions, because she said she needs some clarity, and maybe we can ask some of the maybe the teachers, maybe some of the principals can help us with that. The question again is, I need some clarity on if children are going to be mandated to be on their Chromebooks at specific times, or if they will be able to do work throughout the day, because no way to be able to make sure the elementary child is doing everything they're supposed to do. So can we get one of the principals? Oh, Dr. Chapman has already answered that somewhere on Facebook, so you have to read his answer. There's also, Brother Knox said there's going to be emphasis on PD and support. What is PD?
Professional development.
Professional. Brother Knox, you got to understand, all of us are not teachers. Professional development support for parents and teachers with regards to online platform instruction. And all that's really good to know that they're putting in place support for the parents to be able to assist their kids. And I know it was a big struggle for parents, especially some parents who are not that savvy when it comes to technology. And so it's a. And so I'm gonna go back to you with that in terms of the parent level of stress with all this changing, kids with no structure, the structure keeps changing, or the goalpost keeps moving. What do you say to the parents, especially who are parents? When they start doing the new math and all these other things, we kind of got left behind already, and now you're talking about this technological challenge. On top of that, what advice you have for these parents?
Well, one thing I'm going to say is keep being involved, keep asking questions, keep attending, programs such as this. Keep in touch with your administrators. Form a parent coalition if you have to support each other. Do group chats or whatever you need to do to support each other. I thought it would be a good idea if maybe the classroom list, maybe they form like a classroom support, like the parents for the parents, and they have like a group of support for themselves where they can learn about or take turns, navigating through the technology if someone's more tech savvy than others. But I also think that it's about pacing yourself and being honest with yourself. If this is stressful for you, if this is causing internal and external stressors in your household, make that clear to your administrators. Make that clear to your pediatricians. Just make it clear, make it known, and communicate your needs so that you don't sit and it all, it just piles up, and then the stress becomes worse. And like I said earlier, it tends to project and trickle down to the children, which then causes more problems for them. So I just want to encourage parents to keep asking questions, keep reaching out. Also, there is Perform Care. Perform Care is a New Jersey overhead system of care for children with social emotional challenges. I can provide that number right now. You can call Perform Care to help maybe if a child is having some distress, to get them some extra help virtually. A lot of clinicians are doing behavior assistant work and clinical work over the virtual setting. So that could be a support for parents. They also offer parent educators. They offer CMO services, which is a high level of case management that sometimes comes tied with the Family Service Organization, which is a community-based program. So there are programs and systems out there, but just stay informed, stay encouraged, ask a lot of questions, and just do the best that you can. And don't internalize this, because this is not this is not your issue. This is a collective community world pandemic. So this is not internal. This does not validate you as a parent or unvalidate you as a parent. So I think that just being transparent with your stress and reaching out to your help is going to be the key.
You know, yeah, what is the number?
1-877.
And we're going to post it.
Okay, 1-877-652-7624 is the number to New Jersey Perform Care. There are social workers on call 24 hours a day to help navigate and provide systems and directories and referrals for that you can get for help.
Also, Reverend Burrows said that the district will be empowering parents through webinars and virtual experiences.
Good.
So Lisa Saxon is asking, will there be support in place for the kids who are not keeping up with their work prior to marking time to prior to the marking period ending, so the students have time to catch up and bring their grade up before the marking period ends?
I would say yes. But again, now that we have the school administrators who are on board with the Zoom meeting, maybe they can give you a better response answer. But we try and deal with virtual learning as much as possible to reflect the reality of what happens in the classroom as much as possible.
Let me get this question out now before I lose it. Alex asked a question which is very interesting. For most of the parents, technology is difficult, especially with language barriers. They depend on their children and others to inform them. So what about those kids? And Lansing is very diverse culturally.
Diverse.
And the kids normally help their parents with with English or to kind of navigate it. What about those parents who are, have the language issues?
The parents who have languages issues, I would say to contact the school administrator. We have staff members who speak the language and could assist the parents with their difficulties.
Okay. Go ahead, Sister Days.
So, Mrs. Saunders, as we were talking about the return to school, we know right now the plan is for Atlantic City to go virtual, eventually at some point in time to go back hybrid. Does that also mean that the special education department will also be hybrid, or will your special ed students be more all day? And then what about pre-K 3? How are you going to, what is the procedure, or what is the process of making sure teachers are safe when you have pre-K 3, pre-K 4?
What was the last question, Ms. Days?
What are the procedures to assist in making sure that the teachers who teach pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 are also safe? Because that's a little bit different than having your older kids who can somewhat navigate themselves. Pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 would be a little bit different, with the kids needing a teacher a little bit more.
Right now, they are establishing different strategies and methods to work with these students, but primarily, along with having the safe gears that they need through the guidelines of CDC, the teachers have been getting together also to figure out, along with the school administrator, methods to best deal with the pre-K kids. This is a new area for us, and as things come up, we probably do a lot of that, as it happens sometimes. But we have in place certain things to safeguard the students and the teachers.
Okay.
Okay, what about the hybrid? Will hybrid be for special ed students as well when they return? Or will the special ed students be in school a little bit more like all day?
The hybrid program will depend on if they are A or B. They will not be in school every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me.
Now,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
when you get a chance, if I could use this platform just to answer 3 questions that normally comes up dealing with the teachers who may be in the audience, who needs to know about certain things dealing with the COVID issue as it pertains to them coming back to school.
Brother Knox says we have intervention programs just as if they are in school. It will be business as usual with regards to support for our students. And then I got a question because, and I think this is for both of you, because the question keeps coming up from those who are viewing, and especially teachers. Shalice Mantley asked the question that I asked earlier, and some others have asked about, for teachers who have, elementary ed students, what advice you have for them. I want to just turn that a little bit because, my mindset is not just to address issues and lift up what the problems might be, but how do we get solutions to the issues that we face, and especially because we know it's just not a school issue, because many of our parents are really going to be struggling. What are they going to be doing with these kids? What kind of support are they going to get? Those people who are desperately trying to get back to work when work opens up and they can get back to work, they're certainly going to get there. And that child care, that child supervision problem is going to really, really be an issue. So let me ask the question this way. What can the community, and in particular, what can the church do to assist? And maybe some of the members need to, talk about this as well. What can we do to be of support to our parents in this very, very crucial time? Because we don't want our kids to lose any educational advantage at all. We don't want them to lose any time during the school year. We want them to excel. And I think if we can all come together and work together in whatever way we can, and we know it's during COVID-19 in some strange times, but what do you think that we can do as a church family and church community to be of service and be of help during this time?
Well, what I have to say is that childcare is very expensive, and anything that the church could do, servicing that need, where the parents knew that the church would provide childcare at a minimum cost or no cost at all, and have separate areas where the students could also be able to engage in their instruction. I think that would be a hit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with utilizing the space and utilizing maybe people that are, looking for volunteers of people who may have been former teachers who are now retired, or, anyone that would be willing to volunteer some time to help lift that load from the parents, even if it's every other day, or even if it's 1 or 2 days a week per family. I think that would provide some security, some hope, and at least some form of comfort and stability and safety for the kids.
And I'm saying that because we're in discussions now with how can we provide, because I said earlier today, and I have 5 grandkids. All of my people in my family are teachers, so everyone has to be at work, and so that means that little old me may have 5 elementary kids. And plus with the myriad of things I'm already doing. And so the good thing is that my grands, and they have a support group. They have someone that they can, because I'm going to bend over backwards and do whatever is necessary to make sure those kids are accommodated. But some people don't have the kind of family support group that they have. And so we're actually looking at the possibility of providing some kind of service at the church for that. And so we're trying to develop something that we can make sure our kids are safe, that those who volunteer are safe, and so we already have some mechanism in place to help to make sure the thermal imaging for temperatures and that, and social distancing. We know we have the room to do it, to provide, so we're looking, and so I'm saying to the congregation, and if you have some ideas, if you're looking at willing to help us out with that and help formulate something. Now, we don't have a whole lot of time because, this is going to start with September. School year is going to start. Is it delayed? It's going to start right after September 8th. September 8th is going to start. So we don't have a whole lot of time, but we want to make sure that we do what is necessary to make sure that our kids have every advantage that they possibly can. And so we're throwing it out to the congregation. So, let us know what you think and suggestions, and possibly some volunteers to see what we can come up with.
And also, Reverend Davis, have you thought about talking to the other churches?
Well,
it would be great.
Yeah, I think so. But one of the things I like to do is, before I talk to people, create a model that they can utilize.
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot easier for them to see what can be done, how to do it, versus leaving everything. And so we can come with a model, and then we can certainly share the model. And so I think, we got so many administrators that we saw last week. We've got people in administration. We've got Tanoa already prophesied about you already today, with your expertise, that we can come to. I think we can at least create some model that can be duplicated at other churches, and not only other churches, but other areas of facilities that may want to do something like that we can provide a safe environment for our kids that'll help our parents through this time, because it's challenging for all of us. Yeah. But we want to thank all of you for coming on tonight, and it's been very informative. We want to hear a final word from each of you.
Okay. No, go ahead, Ms. Saunders.
I had mentioned to you a moment ago, there was we put out a fact sheet to staff about some of the issues for returning to work, and I just wanted to give the answers to about 3 questions.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
That's okay. Okay. So the first question is, there's a lot of questions here, but the first question is, I've just been diagnosed with COVID-19. What do I do? Any staff member who is diagnosed with COVID-19, one that cannot be permitted back to work, and before they can return back to work, they have to give a doctor's note saying that they are cleared based upon the guidelines of the CDC. Another question is, and you asked this, Mrs. Days, but I'm going to repeat it again. If I've had COVID-19, what type of leave am I entitled to? And as I said before, you can use your accrued sick leave, your personal days, and if you have vacation days, you can use that, okay? And if you qualify through the FFCRA, then you can use 2 weeks of paid leave and then go on FMLA. And I'll just do one more. I have just become ill with suspected COVID-19. I decided to quarantine myself for 2 weeks and then return to work. But I choose not to seek a medical diagnosis. Can I still get paid for those 2 weeks? No, you cannot get paid for those 2 weeks. Okay, you cannot self-quarantine yourself. In order to be quarantined, you have to get a documentation from a federal, state, or local government agency saying that you are qualified to be quarantined. Mm-hmm. So those are some basic questions. I have others, but the district employees have this questionnaire. But these are very, very important questions. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say, Pastor Days, that I I just had my evaluation and at work, and my goal is to formulate with the community, to work collaboratively with the community to come up with programs to support the districts, all of our districts that we serve. And I'm very familiar with all the districts. So that is my goal, to come up with webinars and programs to offer to the districts, to the teachers, as well as the parents, whether or not they're affiliated with our program or not. So please look out for those programs. I am working on that now. I anticipate having something in place by mid-September to offer. I just need to work with my boss, and then independently with my agency, I will also be providing webinars and Zooms for teachers on trauma, social emotional challenges, anxiety, ADHD, and different diagnosis. I'll be offering psychoeducation through my agency, Caring Connections, but I also will be working on a bigger entity to help provide some services to the communities. So.
Awesome.
And I would like to say, Reverend Days, I congratulate you and give kudos to you and Mrs. Days for this forum.
Yes.
There are people out here who feel embarrassed sometimes on what questions to ask, or they don't know exactly how to ask the question, okay? To me, what you're doing is a large classroom.
Yes.
And you're instructing the members of what they need to do, how they need to do it, and where they could possibly get help. People are crying, parents are crying, students are crying. Everybody is very fearful of what's going on.
Yeah.
And by just being by you just communicating with your membership, it opens it up, and they realize that they are not the only ones with these kind of questions and headaches.
Yeah.
And the more we discuss it, the more we talk about it, the better everyone will feel, even though it's a bad time.
Yeah.
I agree with Ms. Saunders on that.
Absolutely.
Definitely appreciate this platform, and appreciate what you've been doing for the community.
You know, we want to thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
we want to thank you because the wonderful blessing is to know that in our community, and we have access to such a wealth of information and such expertise, and we want our members to, you know, not only be informed, but to have access to help and access to information that is so key to our kids doing well. And we want to thank you so much. And you know, you guys that we see and we can tap, you know, that we can tap. And we know we can't tap you because you're not ready to come back to church yet. But we're gonna pray you be the first one to get a vaccine, the vaccine shot, so you can come back. But you know, and we know that's a concern for a lot of people with underlying conditions as well, and we get it. We really get it. But we want to say to all of Second, you know, we are really thankful, and we understand the tremendous challenge for all of our parents. We're going to be praying for you, and we're going to do whatever we can to be a support to you and provide, you know, the support that we can provide. And so all we want to say to you, Second, we want to thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
We are always, we really thank you for this venue as well, and you tuning in and supporting. And we want to make sure we get the information to you that makes sure that you have everything you need for your kids and our community to be successful. Thank God for all of our administrators.
Thank you.
And I want to let you know, to Noah and Ms. Saunders, you got a lot of fans. You got a big fan base. People talking about how great you are. We already know how great you guys are, and the job that you do. And you know, one of the things I try to remind everybody is that it's so good to show your appreciation and honor the gifts and abilities and talents of other people. Not to be jealous, just appreciate that, because everybody's gift and everybody's ability is for the benefit and blessing of the body of Christ. And so we thank God for all of you gifted and talented people who are making a big one. I know Pam also is a CMO, and we're grateful that we got Pamela Palmer, and we're going to be tapping into you guys as well. Anybody who's helping our kids and assisting our kids, We want the church to know who you are.
Yes.
We want everybody to know what area you do and the benefit you can bring, because it's a blessing to the whole body. Thank you, everybody. Second
Thank
Baptist.
you.
Thank you.
And you'll
Thank
be
you so
hearing
much.
more. Thank
God
y'all
bless
for our
Second Baptist
guests for
Church
coming
and
in.
Reverend Days and
Thank you
Mrs.
all.
Days.
Good night. Have a blessed one, and we'll see you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.